deluded, I'm back again.
Come on, Ian, man. Come on.
Against this right back, Charlie, definitely.
What a great Sunday it was. If you support Spurs, you can't agree with us. People deluded. I'm back again. Not once, not twice, but 3 times have we now won away at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. And obviously, it's nice to get the 3 points. Now, let me know your thoughts on the game. Again, people, at 6 p.m., I've kind of done a tactical analysis on everything you might have missed. So that's to come out. 8:15, I should be live with Yardman. And obviously, we're here now. But a quick overview of my thoughts in relation to the game. Professional performance. And I don't know. It's a bit weird. I wouldn't say with Arsenal fans necessarily, but I think in the world of football, how we're kind of judged, I think people are shocked by us being able to put in a professional defensive display and stuff. And, you know, I don't agree with Postecoglou or Son Heung-min talking about they dominated the game, this, that, and the other. Yeah, cool. The first 10 or so minutes, you know, we was resolute defensively, was in a deep block. But the only thing we struggled with, we weren't on the ropes. The only opportunities you had one cross that came in. Solanke got something on it. Big up Raya for the save. Benjamin White played that little stray pass. But beyond that, Spurs moved the ball way too slow to disorganize our compact unit. And that's about it. It was a street smart performance. How many times as an Arsenal fan have we sat there throughout the whole Emirates era, and at times the early days under Mikel Arteta, like there's definitely been a couple of games like that against Man City where we've had possession. Possession is 9/10 of the law. Possession is life in football, but it's what you do with it. And the only statistic that matters is putting the ball in the back of the net. We know that Spurs struggle to break us down, so we made sure we weren't broken down. We knew we'd get half chances in which, you know, Martinelli had one, that Sterling had another one. Fortunately, set piece FC came clutch again. We know that's a weakness of Spurs. So professional performance. Big up all the squad players that came in. Shout out to the manager as well. Did what we needed to do. Got the 3 points. You know, we're chasing a deficit of such. You know, Man City still the only team with 100% record. Of course, we dropped 2 points to Brighton, and we needed an insurance policy going into the game against Man City on Sunday. And we will do a watch along for the Atalanta game on Thursday. But I wonder what it does beg in question. You know, apparently Mikel Moreno's arm is out of a sling. We still don't know with Odegaard, Calafiori, and Zinchenko now. Declan Rice is going to be back. I don't think there should be rotation. Now, Thursday, surely you've got enough days rest, because what? The boys are probably having a recovery session today. They'll probably train tomorrow, so Tuesday, and fly out between anything from Tuesday to Wednesday, probably Tuesday. So there's enough time to recover. Then obviously Thursday, I don't know if we'll fly back straight away, but then you're asking the question physically. And, you know, Man City have a bigger squad than us, a deeper squad than us. Rodri, Foden and Gundogan are now starting to probably going to be more of a prominent figures in their team, but they'll have an extra 24 hours on us. So I think we have to play our strongest team. I understand the need for rotation. I understand the rhetoric around potentially taking a hit against Atalanta, but I'm not being funny. A, they're a very good side. B, it's away from home. C, again, why would you want to lose in the Champions League? Again, if we win our games, we can, you know, the quicker we confirm qualification to the next round, then you start subbing people. Yeah, if you lose to Atalanta, of course, it's a L and you can chase the points back. But suddenly you have to now win every other game. Don't forget, if we don't finish in the top 8 places, we've got a playoff game to play in the Champs. And the Champs is, obviously, there's bigger team. There's more teams in it now. The format's changed. We're going to be playing that in January, which in previous years, like the year that just went, Champions League is done in December. So, yeah, man, I want us to play our strongest team in these 2 games we've got, really and truly, and we hope players are back, man. Champs Thursday or Tuesday. Well, there's Champions League fixtures on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, and we're playing on the Thursday, man. Timber is so much more than a left back. Just wow, the ceiling on this guy. Listen, they tried to tell us Arsenal fans we can't rate Timber. He only played 50 minutes of Premier League football. Timber is so calm yet tigerish. He's elegant. He's a unicorn of a player. You know, the man. I back him to be able to play in midfield, but Probably left back and right back is his thing. He can obviously do a job at centre half. And that was his first time since his post ACL that he's actually completed 90 minutes, people, which is a big for him. And if you're honest with yourselves, these 4 games that we've seen with Arsenal, I would say in no order: Kai Havertz, Bukayo Saka, David Raya, and then Calafiori. They've been 4 of our better players. So yeah, man, it's decent from Timber. So keep doing what you're doing. The guy's amazing, and we've got good strength in depth. Now it's a shame that our depth has been tested, and we've got 3 left backs injured in top 4 actually. Tierney, Tomiyasu, Calafiori, Zinchenko's got a calf strain as well. So yeah, big up Timber. Benjamin White did well defensively. It was a different game from Benjamin White, of course. We need to be even stronger defensively, so there wasn't going to be too much overlapping. I think he did well. He kept on quiet. They both did. And to be fair, pardon me, Martinelli on the left-hand side, Timber on the left-hand side, Bukayo Saka and Benjamin White on the right. I think they did very good in their individual tasks that Arteta asked, and I think they doubled up well against Spurs' wingers, man. So yeah, big them up. We could set up to draw with City on our backs, and with it being 1 of 8 games. If you can't win, don't lose. You'd imagine to a similar degree we're going to set up how we set up against Spurs, against City. But we need to take our chances. I would say as good as last season was great. 91 goals scored. Records were being broke every year. Away form has continued into this season and stuff like that. Everything's getting better. I personally feel, and you could argue, you could say, Spurs at the Emirates, Chelsea away from home. There was, I wouldn't say it, but Anfield, we took the lead, but we drew the game. So we dropped points from a winning position as hard as it is. You could say the top 6 clashes last season wasn't a thing for us. You could say we've dropped points, but I don't think the top 6 games was our problems. It was in the other games. The West Ham's at home where you've got a million chances. The 2 games against Fulham, the 2 games against Villa, Newcastle away, so on and so forth. But part of me does believe if you want to win a Premier League title, we need to now get into that scenario, which I think is like this. I think we've now got the belief that we can compete, whether we win, lose or draw. There's certain expectations we can now place on our team. Really, there was previous years you don't know what Arsenal you're going to get, essentially. So I do think there's that. Now it's about getting over the line. Now for me, it's about not only winning at Anfield where Liverpool's concerned or the Etihad where City's concerned, but we're going into these games in the next year or so believing, because if Liverpool rock up at the Etihad or City go to Anfield, nobody's really shocked if they win or lose, really. And it's the stadium and all that stuff has nothing, it doesn't really factor. For us, we still ain't. When did we last win at Anfield in the Premier League? When did we last win at the Etihad? Man United are not a good footballing team in comparison to us at this moment in time. But even Old Trafford has its own hoodoo. So we need to be able to step to these places and do our job, man. Benjamin is still my guy, but Timber's going to make him look even more old school in the coming years. Good problems, if I'm honest with you, between Timber and Benjamin White. I'm happy for it. I still think Timber is getting back to his best, owing to his ACL, but that was the first game across 90 minutes or a significant moment significant minutes being played in the game. I didn't see any rustiness because against Brighton, he was very good, but there was elements of the rustiness. I think he was a lot better than a lot of our players against Aston Villa, but there was still a bit of rustiness in that regard. So smash the like button, by the way. But it's good problems, man. If you want to hold on to your spot in the team, hold on to your spot in the team. And owing to injuries, you see, there's games to be had. Good defensive performance, but I've seen enough bench Martinelli in the next 2 games. It's a difficult one, man, because I'm biased. Rightly so, where it comes to Martinelli. I love the guy. I'll never stop supporting him, but he needs to start scoring. And I feel yesterday, a lot of people on social media are really doing too much about Martinelli's performance. I will say, again, them chances there, you either have to find Bukayo Saka or you have to pull it in the back of the net. And we can sit here and say, the Martinelli of 2 seasons ago, he would have bagged and whatnot, which is true. But we don't really care about that 2 seasons ago. It's irrelevant. It really is irrelevant. It doesn't matter. I think his defensive performance was great. I think he did, the dribbles he was doing, everything he did was good, apart from that chance he missed. And that sums up Martinelli, because if you go and watch the whole game again or the build up to that goal, Bentancur's asking for a foul. I think between Martinelli and Jorginho, they've picked the pocket. Martinelli's received the ball from where that foul's happened. He's just driven up the field. He's got his head up. He's relaxed. He's gone back to Jorginho. Jorginho's found Trossard. They've set Martinelli on his back. And, that's what I mean about, that's what sums up Martinelli in the defensive, middle and final third, man. So, yeah, man. He's been poor 4 games in a row. We can't take chances with him. Bit harsh. He came off the bench against Brighton and the game was already done there. And I don't think there's anything of note. Against Wolves, obviously could have done better. Villa could have got done better. I wouldn't say he's piss poor against Spurs personally. He just never scored, and I get it. If you're ultimately, you need to still be decisive. I think across 90 minutes, you probably saw a lot more from Martinelli watching the game again than Saka, but Saka still popped up with an assist. This is what Martinelli needs, and again, whether it's Gabriel Jesus playing off the left, Trossard on the left, Martinelli off the left, Sterling off the left. Nobody's really grabbed that shirt yet on this left-hand side. Kai Havertz had a good game, by the way. Kai's doing his thing up front. You're the striker for now, unless your form dips or Jesus plays out of his skin or we sign a striker. Talking about Saka, we'll be here all day. The man, that's your spot. Left wing is open season. Just watch Brendan Johnson's highlights. It will sober anyone when it comes to our boy Martinelli. Imagine they've got Solanke for 65 million, Richarlison for about 50, Brendan Johnson for 50. They're trying to chase the game and they're bringing on Timo Werner. Their attacking options are horrible, man. Shout out Gabriel Jesus. When Ethan came on, he told him to hold striker and play right wing. And that's great because that's what you should do as a more experienced player. I covered that in the video as well. Martinelli will come out on the other side. He's in a tough spot with his head down memes right now. Just got to keep going, man. Martinelli needed to get his head up when he was played in. He could have rolled it into Saka and we probably score. Graham, I agree. But watching the game again, and I watched it several times, a part of me doesn't feel it's as close cut or as easy to square it to Saka as I and a lot of people have made out, if I'm honest with you. But I do think he could have found Saka. And I've got no problems with you not passing the ball to Saka. But once it's become clear that you're not trying to square that to Bukayo Saka, you have to score. Like, again, players make mistakes. You can miss chances. And it definitely weren't, missing on a shot that's on the line. But I do think there's some chances you can't afford to miss. And that was one of them. And I genuinely thought in game, it was going to be a Thierry Henry-esque finish. He's opened up his body. He's going to caress it into the far post. The idea was there. The application was horrible, man. And all Martinelli can do is work hard. Good and bad form happens. The longer it goes on, the more that it becomes something that needs to be addressed. I don't know if Martinelli is going to be dropped in the next couple of games, but it does raise the question. When and if Raheem Sterling starts or gets a start, obviously you've got Trossard and Jesus and the rest of him, but he just needs to keep working hard, man. Really just needs to shout. Oh, sorry, already seen that. Martinelli has fallen off a cliff, man. It's disappointing. People saying Romero is better than Gabriel. Hold, this debate is done now. Hold that, Spurs fans. I don't know where that rhetoric came from. They can scream he's a World Cup winner. That's great. Mustafi's won a World Cup. So is he one of the best centre-halves ever? It's ridiculous, And anyone that's got Lionel Messi and Martinez, either side of their team, you're gonna obviously be in good stead in the international scene. Romero is a quality centre-back, I'll be real. But he's extremely overrated, in my opinion. Romero is even better than Van der Ven. I think yes, but then I think no. Van der Ven's more my cup of tea as a defender, if I'm honest. I was hearing Romero's the best in the league, etc., etc. This is probably the first game he hasn't made a glaringly obvious mistake, even though he did lose Gabriel, obviously, for the goal. And even if you watch our set pieces again, people, the run is different from Gabriel, but Romero really struggled to follow and go man for man with Gabriel from dead ball scenarios, which obviously worked out. I think I said it yesterday. How can it be called a rivalry when we beat you 3 times in a row at your yard? That's like me going to your yard and fucking your sister, wife, and daughter. Crazy. I think Martinelli was good apart from the finish. Big up DG. I think we need to beat City. For me, a draw is not good enough. Haaland was pocketed by Gabriel last season. Time to make a statement win. I'm at that stage where you want, apart from 2 games a season, I want City to lose every game. The last 3 including this year, where you're fighting for a title, you want City to lose any time they play. I just don't want them to lose against Spurs. I want them to lose every potential game. So it would be nice to beat them. You're taking points off direct rivals. I don't think we need to beat them. Maybe for the fans to believe. For me as a fan, I think we need to beat them for what it's worth, because I want to win at Anfield. We had a great record against them. They've beaten us up so many times over the years. Time to return the favor. But mathematically, you don't need to beat them. If you can't win, don't lose. I mean, people used to call Arsenal very naive. We tried to go toe-to-toe with Man City, get blown off the park. Spurs get called brave for it. We get slaughtered for it. We rock up with a resolute defense and being street smart, and we're told we're playing for a draw. I don't think playing for a draw or not forcing the error in theory at this point of the season is wrong personally, but it would be nice to win, especially coming off the back of 2 big games when the City game's done. What have we got here? Sorry, I've already seen that. We could set up to draw with City on our backs and with it being 1 out. I don't think we've ever set out to draw either. I think we've set up to be solid defensively And we just haven't taken our half chances, if I'm honest with you. I don't even think we set up to draw against City last season. Obviously, you're going to respect them. You're going to respect their attacking talent. You're going to set up not to get caught off the ball. 11 for 11, we can't talk to City. There's a couple of players that might be able to say they could get into a combined Arsenal City 11. We can't match them collectively on the ball. So we have to match them off it, and we need to be perfect off it. So, yeah, man. I'm at this weird point where I expect no losses. Kind of weird after the banner era. This is a proper team missing in numbers, but it's nice. I hear it. With City on our backs is crazy. 3 points, clean sheet, beating Spurs, all very happy. But I want to work out how we can jump up a few more levels. That's for Mikel Arteta. I thought a big thing that would have helped us. Well, it would. Our players getting fit. I would have thought, I think a big reason for us to step up would just be acting in the transfer market. But that the ship has sailed where that's concerned. 1 second, folks. I'm still here. Why is Premiere Pro open? It's closed. That is bugging me. Let me save my project. Again, people, 6 p.m. Turn on your notifications for specific Arsenal, Spurs, North London, Derby comments. I've done a video for that. DJ, I hear people saying we should rest players for Atalanta. In my opinion, I'm against it. Rest for who? Look at the squad. Who is there? Because the players are going to want to play and get a result. Arteta needs to deal with what's in front of them. For me, you need to play the strongest team. Fair enough. If everyone's fit, yeah, you can make a case of rotating. But respectfully to Bolton, this ain't us rocking up to play Bolton in the League Cup. Atalanta are a very serious side. Italy is a very dangerous country to go to from a footballing perspective. Gasperini, their manager, plays some good football. Who are we resting? Who are we resting? For who? I would love to see Ethan start against Atalanta, but I'm not a fan of mass changes. And even if we, say we lose the game, now you need to win all of the remaining fixtures or the majority of them. You're chasing that. So I don't agree with that. I think you need to play your strongest team against them and we'll deal with it after, man. But I understand wanting to rotate. I can't lie, DG. This match showing me Ethan comes in. I'd love to see Ethan start against Atalanta. I'd love him to get some more minutes as the season progresses. We've got to get rid of Zinni. He's too injury prone. Zinchenko gets away with murder where injuries are concerned, if I'm honest with you. I'd persist with Zinni at least until the end of the season because I think we're going to need everybody in the squad, man. But yeah, I don't know. The resting thing don't make sense to me. Like, rest for what? The City game is far more important than Atalanta. They're both of equal importance. They're both of equal importance. You play less games in the champs group stage or league stage than you do in the league. They're both of equal importance. If I had to throw one, I guess if you were to put a gun to my head for the answer, I'd rather lose to Atalanta than City. But I don't think you can. I think we need to start the Champions League in the best possible way. I'm not with this backward logic of Atalanta's a free hit. We can afford to lose that because that's assuming we win every game. With the greatest of respect to Atalanta, we've still got to play PSG, We still got to play Inter at their place. Where is this coming from? Play the games, play the strongest team, win the games. Then when we've confirmed our qualification, do what needs to be done. Arteta said Saka, I believe, has just got cramped, but we'll go over all the comments. Play Sterling versus Atalanta. It'll be an interesting dynamic, man, because obviously I believe Raya will start. I think the whole back five will be the same that we saw from Spurs. So that's, if you weren't watching the game, that's Timber, Benjamin White, Saliba, Gabriel, and obviously Raya. In midfield, I actually think a team like Atalanta and them kind of continental games, that's more suited to Jorginho. So I'd rock with Jorginho. But then you've got Declan Rice back. Jorginho, you might have to hold. Do you just get rid of that 10 row and go Declan Rice, Partey, Jorginho? Or do you go Ethan, Partey, Declan Rice? I'm on that, You know what? For me, I'd go Ethan in the 10, man. F it. You can come off if you're not doing the business. And then the two experienced ones, Saka plays, Havertz plays. And then it's an opportunity to give Jesus minutes. You know what? Pardon me. Raheem Sterling, Saka, Havertz. And a part of me wants to play Gabriel Jesus. Not equally important to me. Had we dumped the Porto tie last season, we win the league. We do not have the squad to go deep in both. Disagree. I agree with the squad point, but I think that's a simple way of looking at it, bro. I definitely don't agree with that. So if we threw the Champions League game, that we assume we're going through. I don't think that because I think we would have won the league if we didn't wait till the hour mark to turn up against Chelsea, if we didn't shoot ourselves in the foot at the Emirates, if we could have put the ball in the back of the net against West Ham, if we could have done better in the 2 games against Villa, and even the one at the Emirates killed the game in the first half, we didn't, and you saw what happened. Nah, man. And I'm not like, at the end of the day, bro, you're in both tournaments. Yeah, there might come a point this season where Arteta might have 2 must-win games. We might be in the semi-final, second leg with it all to play for in the champs. But the Premier League game that same weekend is almost like a final because we need to win, and there's no points really separating Arsenal and City. But you need to go for everything, man. I've never been a fan of this resting players to focus on other competitions. I don't think Arteta or the club or the players want to throw the Champions League away. They're both equally important. It's the champs and the Prem. Like, they're equally important. This is the scenarios we wanted to be in. Exactly. Atalanta's a physical game. They play good tactically as well. They're a very good side. Very good side. If anyone thinks you can make mass rotations rock up there, it's a myth. I'm not sure on what the game finished, but go and look at Ademola Lookman and tell me you don't want to see your strongest defenders. Atalanta are a very physical and ruthless side. They'll definitely injure our players. I don't know if anyone will intentionally injure our players, but naturally you're going to want to kick our players. Off topic, but my man Endrick, he's gotten married to his girl. Congrats to him, man. Is the Arsenal fan base too fragile, DG? 100%, like many fans. In my opinion, we lost the league in confidence when we drew 2-2 with Bayern at home with all that advantage. That just showed we're not ready for the champs, in my opinion. My heart can't take watching one more game of the 2 uncles. That's a bit harsh. They did all right, man. We lose to Porto. We don't play 2 legs against Bayern, and therefore we play our strongest versus Villa. I called it before the Porto game. Said we try to win both, we get neither. And that's because either we haven't got that stardust or that experience to get things over the line in the champs, and we got complacent in the league. Me personally, run the both of them, because we could have, in that reality, we still couldn't have won the league. Like, there's still a reality where we don't win the league. To be fair, Jorginho and Partey are not uncle status. OGs, Milner, Ashley Young, Johnny Evans are. Lord Timber versus Lookman would be a serious battle. You'd imagine Lookman's going to be on the left, though, man. It's an interesting one. I just want us to start well. Because off the top of my head, and someone add the names I'm forgetting, we've got to play Shakhtar Donetsk, Inter Milan, PSG, Atalanta. I'm missing somebody else out. But yeah, like, respectfully to Atalanta, if I hear we've got to play PSG and Inter Milan, which them games are not a given, we definitely need to win this game on Thursday. And this is where I look at Edu and Arteta, and yeah, there's injuries. We've shown in the last 2 years we can kind of cope with certain injuries and whatnot, but clearly the squad needed to be bigger. It needed to be bigger. Like, we've got 3 different competitions this month, bearing in mind the League Cup isn't what's on everybody's lips, but obviously we've got to have a good game against Porto. One wonders, when's our keeper Neto going to play? Sporting away, nasty fixture. Dynamo Zagreb. It's weird, but it's a bit weird, but I'm a lot more confident in my football club away from home generally, and in the league, I'm a lot more confident away from home. In the champs, I'm a lot more confident in the games at the Emirates, if that makes sense. Jorginho simultaneously has the physique of a 9-year-old boy and an 82-year-old Oliver. You're moving mad. I don't know about that, but yeah. Big up, DG. Beautiful start to the week. Spurs in the mud and paying for their sins from last season. For the Atalanta game, I'm hoping we can play the kids/bench players. I would love to see Lewis Skelly get minutes, but in terms of the young players starting, if it's not Ethan, then go as strong as you can. I mean, I'm sure Kivior, with having history in Italy, I'm sure he'd want to play. Timber, if you're fit, you got to play for me. But I understand that if you can get Calafiori back fit, if he were to get some minutes, because it would have been nice, to go away from home, and what you expect is that we're going to have to be quite solid defensively and have I'll say Tomiyasu and Calafiori in particular, because it's time to manage in the squad. Neto can't play in the League Cup, bro. He played for his last club, and he's still at Bournemouth, but he played for Bournemouth, so Raya has to play in that. I don't think we're going to draw for Tommy Setford. Atalanta are the second best team in Europe. Madness playing the kids. I do think a bit of it is naivety because people are not watching Atalanta. White better be on his P's and Q's. I hear it. Rest players for the second best team in Europe. Atalanta are the Europa League winners and won against that Leverkusen team. Don't forget is 100%. I'm happy I'm not the gaffer, man. Bolton away, Setford will play. I don't think he plays Setford. I would love to see. Listen, we all want to see young boys get debuts and things like that. I don't think he will. I mean, it's better to blood him in the game at the Emirates than away from home. But I think Raya will play in that, if I'm honest. I think that's when you might see a start. If Ethan doesn't start against Atalanta, that's when you see Ethan start. Minutes for Lewis Skelly, I think Kivior and Zinni might get game time in that. You know, you could easily go Kivior left centre back, which is a rarity in an Arsenal shirt. Zinni in there. I mean, Timber and Ben White. It would be lovely to have Tomiyasu, but one of you would have to start and then make the subs. You hope Calafiori is fit and we're able to do something in that regards as well. You'd imagine Gabriel Jesus gets a start there, potentially Raheem. But that's way out in front, man. That's way out in front. What we need to deal with is Atalanta ahead of us. And then obviously, you know, we know the big one next Sunday, man, which I hope is still feel-good factor settings for us. White's been moving shaky so far this season. I think that's harsh, man. White's been calm. I think he struggled a bit against Mitoma. I think he done his job yesterday, if I'm honest. Kivior redemption arc this season would be such a welcome surprise. I like Kivior. I just don't think your levels, man. Like I think unless a miracle happens, this is going to be your role because you don't look like, and again, I'm not saying they need to be like for like players, but you haven't got that thing that Timber has. You don't have that thing that Calafiori does. Tomiyasu, the only reason Tomiyasu doesn't have a longer career at Arsenal is injuries. You don't bring to the table what Tomiyasu brings. And arguably, some of those names and some of those defensive options probably play left-sided centre-back before Kivior. Now, I'm happy Kivior stayed because you saw the injuries and whatnot. And it's cool to be a squad player, but I think this is as good as it gets. Spurs fans are so delusional. They're ranting that they are better than us. No Spurs player can Arsenal bench. They are cheap packers. Let them do that. They can waffle about possession. They dominated the game. They've been doing this for years. That's great. I'm happy with the 3 points. That's cool. We know your manager, Postecoglou, is very naive. He wants to play on the front foot. I don't want to say he doesn't respect the other arts of the game, but doesn't seem to have any emphasis on when Spurs lose the ball. Naive from set pieces. Naive on the transition. Boy, play with fire, you get burnt. Experienced kids. Is what it is. Twitter's too much. I just see someone say, don't mess with Timber and Saka, Bible brothers, after gripping up Vicario. Oh, yeah, I must admit, Timber, that was lovely to see because Vicario, I don't know who you're lucky it's Sunday and obviously our pastor Timber didn't want to do anything. But even better than seeing Timber do that was Saka. I'm like, yes, Saka. Everyone who knows me, it's about time Saka's nasty. The good boy act, it's not even an act, but the good boy thing, I'm not here for it. All the best players in the world or in history have had a bit of an edge to them, even the nicest guy. And you're seeing it with Saka, man. You know, Saka's a bit, you can see he's on banter, man. How many times, obviously didn't really work against Maddison in North London derby a few years ago. Did his celebration, did Rashford's celebration, just the Villa fans recently. I'm here for it, man. Thoughts on Ben White in the Spurs game? Thought he was calm. Obviously, the only thing I'm on to Benjamin White for is that little Shea pass in the first 10 minutes where Solanke really and truly should have scored. Big up Saliba. Apart from that, I think Ben White did his job. I think he would be the lowest rated member for me of the back five. I think Timber arguably could have been man of the match. Personally, I think man of the match was Saliba. I think Gabriel is a strong candidate for that. So I think the rest of the back five did well. But Benjamin White's been one of our more consistent players. And on David Raya, the last 4 games, the man's been quality for us. So when he does make a mistake, like everyone, I hope everyone bears in mind that he's been good for us. The thing about Timber gripping Vicario type stuff is that Xhaka got traumatized. Always the beginning of the end when we start the banter. I disagree. Timber has that dog in him. I like that Arsenal players can't be bullied. Can't be bullied anymore. And that's one thing that was an issue. We can win ugly. We want to play football. But if you want to do the fighting thing, we'll do the fighting thing. So I'm here for it. Spurs fans can ask for Ange sack, but it won't fix any of their problems. Exactly. And they're playing squad. Like, they got a bunch of kids, and the guys that are not kids are crap. And who is doing the recruitment? Like, who signed off 50 million on Brennan Johnson? Who signed off getting Werner on loan again? Alarm bell should be ringing with Werner. He's gone back to Bundesliga, and they want to chop him off the roster. What's going on there? Richarlison, we don't need to waffle about that. That black youth they got from Burnley, clearly rubbish. Like, their attacking options are crap. Their midfielders are nothing to scream and shout about now. Hindsight's a wonderful thing, but this is why I said, regardless of the injuries, bro, we've got enough to get something against Spurs. They're not good. You know, with these injury concerns, yes, against City is scary. Spurs are not good. They're badly coached. And not even on that. I think Postecoglou is a good manager. The team's got bad habits. They got a lack of discipline. They don't have the killer instinct. You know, they moved, which is probably a bit of a byproduct on the coaching. They moved the ball slowly. Yeah, they can talk about dominance, but you could see us low block, deep block, whatever you want to refer to it as, 2 banks of 4. It's pedestrian pace side to side. So it gives the illusion to the casual football fan, oh, they're dominating. They've got all their players apart from Vicario in Arsenal's box, in Arsenal's half, simultaneously, every Arsenal player's there. That's cool. We'll soak up the pressure. We'll let you do what you want to do. Cool, there might be some hairy moments or you have an opportunity. The only thing we will struggle with in the early stages of the game, which you saw, is an outball. There was, I think, 25 minutes in, David Raya actually played the most passes. That was the only issue with us in the beginning of that game. Once we've won it, we can't really zip some passes. But as the game went on, you were seeing us start to get 1-2 opportunities on the transition. The only statistic that matters is putting the ball in the back of the net. I agree, a game doesn't always tell the truth, but it doesn't lie. Dominance of possession means F all. We're Arsenal fans. How many times in the early days under Mikel Arteta did we dominate some games and lose? Under Arsene Wenger, as much as I love him, during the Emirates era, how many times would we have a million chances, 99% of possession? The other team goes down our end, puts the ball in the back of the net. Nobody cares. Possession is everything, but it's what you do with it. And it's what you do without the ball. Their players are not switched on. They could have got Hudson-Odoi and Elanga for less than Johnson. Yeah, bro. Johnson is rubbish. I don't agree with the abuse he's getting because I think he's deactivated his Instagram account and all of that weird stuff. I'm not a fan of that, but yeah, man. Mikel Arteta was right with Raya. I don't know if Raya is clear of Ramsdale. I think they're in the same bracket. I think he's a better keeper. But like the move for Raya has been backed up. Raya sticks to his script. I've been really impressed with Raya. You know, I think there's a bit of, I don't think there's no coincidence in that, you know, once we got through that little noise with Aaron Ramsdale and Raya and all that backdrop, he's looked a lot more comfortable. Raya's got every reason, in my opinion, beyond the obvious, to be complacent. You just won something with Spain during the Euros. Clearly, you've won the battle with Ramsdale. But the way he's moving is like like there's a new keeper ready to take his spot. And to be fair, you look at Arteta's history with goalies, you got to make sure if you're a goalie or defender, you buck up your ideas. You might get allowed if you're an attacker. Spurs ain't humble enough, and when they do well, media hype it up. Them man there were naive, hella naive. You know, Maddison was talking. All of them were talking. All bark, but no bite. Empty barrels make the most noise, and that is Spurs. I actually think Postecoglou is a good manager. I just think ultimately, Levy, you're never going to succeed there. And I think with the variables that Postecoglou can control, bro, he's not controlling them. You know, you're not controlling them. You've not improved a slight bit at set pieces. Everybody, a blind woman and man could see that set pieces, you know, is cash money. Arsenal, one of the best teams from set pieces. You're one of the worst teams. You still probably would have conceded, but you could have been a bit more solid. Even the build up to it, the build up to the corner. If you go and watch the game again, like we're defending in our own box, deep block again. Maddison's put in a cross. Partey's headed it out. Trossard's walloped it. And it is a clearance from Trossard, but it turned to be a very good pass. Havertz is there on the break. Great hold-up play from Havertz. He's brought in Martinelli. It's eventually found its way to Saka. Saka's had a shot. It's been blocked. He's recovered the ball ultimately via the ball coming off Son. We won a corner. So we did it. So I promise you, like, if you watch the game again, Spurs played into our hands. And this is one thing I like about Arsenal, in that we've got that in our locker where we don't have to be amazing. Of course, I would love us to come out the blocks firing, silky one touch round the corner, Wenger, Arteta ball, whatever you want to refer to it as, a million goals, high intensity pressing. But over a 38 game period, it's not feasible. It's not realistic. You know, we are now able to win games when we're not necessarily at our best or have our best players available. Now, we need to do a lot better, but you get the point. There's an element of professionalism. It was only a few years ago we knew, as Arsenal fans, if we're not playing up there, we're either down there. There's no medium there, and I want to see it get better. Ultimately, you know, I think we've got decent points on the board. I do look at the Spurs game in isolation, the Aston Villa game in isolation. You need to be able to win when variables are going against you. You need to be able to get out of jail when you deserve to lose. Really, really and truly, we deserve to lose against Aston Villa. In isolation, a couple of games over a 38 game period, you need to be able to get out of these things with results. And I hate to be that guy, but it just makes you wish. You see the Brighton game, yes, 10 men and whatnot. But had Saka, Odegaard, Kai Havertz, had they have just got on the score sheet one more time, you get it. So, yeah, Raya just showing the underlying data we never had, but the scouts did. His calmness is major skill, not on the basic data. I've said it before. One difference I believe with Ramsdale and Raya is how they react to adversity. Now, Ramsdale drops his head, and I think Ramsdale doesn't stick to the script. Like, Ramsdale is a good keeper, but Ramsdale will stick to the script 90% of the time. 10% of the time, the man's going to get flustered and start doing his own thing. Raya, 100% of the time, is going to stick to what Arteta told him. And it's been backed up. I love Aaron Ramsdale, but at the end of the day, like, I don't miss you now. Like, Raya's doing his thing. Keep it moving. Feel sorry for Ramsdale, though, because not that you played on a regular basis, but you've gone from having all those Arsenal defenders in front of you, not to mention Partey, Declan Rice, probably could have been Mikel Merino, and you've gone to that Southampton side. Boy, 3 relegations on the CV can't be nice. And it'd be interesting, if Southampton go down, does Aaron Ramsdale spend the season in the Championship, or does he move on? I don't know. Ange deserves better. I really rate him. He's a breath of fresh air. Ange is... what game was it? Was it City? Or was it a game before? And now I don't know this, but there was a game where Postecoglou, it was an evening game. He gave an interview and you could see in his eyes, you know, when you've deeped something, it's like he's deeped. I am employed by losers. I'm surrounded by losers and I can't really change things. He's still being defiant and saying, yo, I always win stuff in my second year. As much as I like Postecoglou, it's nothing personal to you, my guy, but I will be there for Spurs' downfall. I see our season in 3 stages, starting with defense, December to February, midfield, March, May, attack focus. I just want to get points, man. Big up DG doing AFTV interview. By the way, how long is it from your yard to the Spurs stadium? Big up yourself, man. People, hey, you lot are funny in the comments. Big up you lot supporting in the AFTV comments, man. Someone said I took a private plane or something. You lot are silly. If I jogged 2 minutes, walking 10, it's literally right there, like right there. Unfortunately, I live right next to a toilet seat. Crazy. You know what though? Because these men didn't have Euros to play, so these little mistakes he's making is like, bro, what go on for you? You should be fresh or not. I do think mistakes happen though. I think mistakes, like players are gonna make mistakes. Mistakes happen. Like David Raya. That's why I said at the start, when he does make a mistake, hold him accountable as you should. But remember, he saved us enough times. There's been bare mistakes already. Benjamin White made a mistake in the game. It's football. You're going to lose the ball. You're going to get caught on the transition. You're going to not follow a runner. It's just about cutting that out where you can. So, yeah, man. I am happy to have Declan Rice back, though. I'm not going to lie. Like, Declan Rice, I must admit, people, like, I'm going to hold my hands up. I'm not optimistic for the City game. I'm not. I don't think we're winning. I want to be wrong. Have all the hope in my team, got the belief that we'll put in a performance, but it's Man City. Like it's Man City, and they're gonna have the fire in their teeth. Because if I'm fire between, you know, the bit between their teeth and the fire in their belly. Because if I'm Man City, I'm saying, listen, Arsenal really think they're our rivals. We played them 3 times last season. We didn't win. They really think they're levels. Haaland, look at all the goals you scored. Gabriel and Saliba probably sitting there and saying, we fancy you. You can't do that to us. They're gonna be on to us. And for me, it's the fine margins. You know, you've got Gundogan that can make something out of not everybody in their team can. They can create. We've done it before, but they can create from Edison all the way to their strikers. Haaland just needs a moment. Gundogan can do a madness. Rodri is an all-action midfielder, but can ping a pass that cuts our team up. Mr. Phil Foden could do a thing. But the only thing that gives me confidence is we relish these challenges now. At times, with certain players under Mikel Arteta in years before, and definitely under Wenger, you could tell from the training videos and the early kind of warm-ups in games that the players didn't want to be there. They were scared. You know, they before Man City battered us, or even Chelsea, when them teams there used to batter us and score all those goals, before they put a ball in the back of the net, you could see in the tunnel that our boys didn't want it. Now our boy, win, lose or draw, they fancy it. Wingers want to take on the best defenders. Defenders want to show up against these attackers. When things are going wrong, people get their heads up. We're able to control spells in the game. And another thing that I liked about the Spurs game yesterday is naturally they're going to, you know, they're playing at home. There's reasons for them to be, for Spurs to be excited and do all of that stuff. We took this thing out of the game. We were low blocks, deep blocks. If you watch the game again, any little free kicks or throw-ins we had, waste a bit of time, frustrate them, just manage the game. It was boys against men yesterday. And that goes even for young Ethan. That was a man against, how was the oldest man in Spurs team? Like 20, 30-year-old boys. We're street smart, way more street smart than we've ever been. We need to keep it up, though. And that's what annoys me about not winning no trophies, because we're flirting with it, man. We're flirting with it. Like, we're flirting with it. And I don't mean this, and I'm happy we're like this, but a part of me wishes, yeah, that we weren't seeing what we're seeing, because when we was crap, at least you could tailor your expectations. You still have to tailor your expectations and consider it's a process. But now we're good. We're flirting with it. We're doing things like so close. Like it's right there. Like it just with a couple more percentages, the first Premier League of the Emirates era is there. And then you've got City just in this league for no reason. Saka in the first minute took about 5 years to take the corner. Sometimes you got to do that. I'm not going to cap. It's frustrating watching that when you're the ones on the receiving end, but you've got to do that. City are so good at it now. For obvious reasons, we can't get near City, but Arteta's been there. How many times? City at Anfield. How many over the years? Just take this thing out of games. Even last season, when it looked like City might lose at Anfield, just take this thing out of the game. Just get the fouls, control the tempo. You don't always have to be emotional and flying from one end to the other from minute 0 to 90. This squad is levels now. It ain't the same old. We've put the trauma to bed, and that's credit to Arteta. Big up Arteta. I think the vast majority of the players are levels, but just to go off the squad, I don't know. Keyword squad, I don't know. Because, yeah, we've beaten Spurs, but if I'm honest, bro, man should be beating Spurs. Should be beating Spurs with all these injuries. I said that in my previews. I said that in the watch along. Spurs not serious like that. Like, they're too badly coached and naive as a side. If these injury stuff persists, and now you're looking at, Atalanta away, Man City away, these kind of games is where I'm looking at the depth. And let's be honest, nothing went crucially for us. Nothing went wrong against Spurs. When things go wrong, what are we going to do? We're getting used to winning ugly. Even that, Josh, like, it's not you saying it, but even when I'm seeing the Gary Nevilles and all of these guys speaking about it, they're not wrong. But we've been winning ugly for a minute now, like over a year now. Enough games have been won on an ugly thing. Yeah, we've slapped teams, Chelsea at the Emirates got slapped. There was a period at the beginning of the year we were scoring 3, 4, 5 goals every week. It was amazing. Saka was even got subbed in at half time in one of the games. But we've been winning ugly for a minute. Villa was ugly, was nervy, very nervy, heart and mouth settings. But we've been winning ugly. Spurs, we won ugly to a degree. We even won ugly last year. Now, granted, there was more mistakes. You get the point. So yeah, man. I hear that. Big up DG. Just finished watching your fan cam on AFTV. Respect, bro. Big up yourself, man. I like Ange. She's spitting truth, but something's wrong with that club. These man mentally rubbed. I think they knew they were cooked after wanting to lose to City last season. There you have it, cooked. And the only thing worse than Spurs fans that wanted to see their team lose against City was the Arsenal fans hoping Spurs could do a thing. I said it then. At least I big up you lot. I get the morals behind it, but I kept my integrity. You lot were cheering on Spurs, and then they got their batties. Their batties got, let me not. In fact, let's rephrase that. You saw what happened to them, innit? You saw what happened to them. Don't do that. And if I'm honest with you, if we're ever in a reality where we're trying to beat the juggernaut of a Manchester City side with Pep Guardiola, and you're relying on, they're not rivals, Spurs rivals, our fellow local Premier League club, we'll call it. If you're relying on them to beat City, that tells me we've done something wrong across the season. I am never going out like that. Never ever in my life am I going out like that. That is crazy. But it's a good step in that right direction, man. But we can't get excited, man. For City, who do you think takes that midfield Odegaard spot with Rice back where only one man down? Declan Rice party. He could persist with Trossard. He might do a Bandulu thing, put Gabriel Jesus in and put Havertz in the 10. Do you know what? I think you actually play Jorginho, Partey, Declan Rice, It's a chess match. I think them kind of, even if he makes a mistake and I hold my hands up, I like Jorginho against the Liverpools and Cities. Not Liverpool at Anfield because it's crazy kind of football. But I think Jorginho, them kind of chess matches, which as much as the players are the ones playing, is Pep versus Arteta. They both do crazy things on a tactical front. I think Jorginho's in his element there, man. Spurs always letting down the Spurs-Chester alliance. To be fair, they drew against Arsenal and lost last season. So technically they took some points off us. United just got slapped at home and away. John Ant, have some manners, man. We're talking about title aspirations and that. We got Champions League this week. What you lot got? You lot in the bigger competition. You lot playing in the League Cup, innit? I think Eric Ten Hag's got his press conference today. Ooh, it's tough out there. Have you seen my son, Kobe Mainoo? He's not looked the same since he bought Liverpool, man. Crazy stuff. Fair enough. If we look at some of the stuff that is in the papers and whatnot, people in the social media stuff, Arsenal's away results in the Premier League in 2024, you can see it there. It's amazing. Nottingham Forest, West Ham, Burnley, Sheffield United, drew with City is calm, smashed Brighton, shat on the Seagulls, dealt with Wolves, beat Spurs, beat United. That's for John Ant. Dealt with Aston Villa and dealt with Spurs. I like us away from home, man. I like us away from home. Shout out to the gaffer. Notable absentees from Arsenal last night, people. Tomiyasu Zinchenko, Calafiori, Tierney, Mikel Merino, Declan Rice, Odegaard. With the greatest of respect to Tierney, pardon me, probably would have been on the bench, but he's there for no reason. He's not really a thing this season. But the other names, yeah. And we don't want any more injuries. Moving away from that, Saka had cramps versus Spurs. There's optimism present. He'll be present for Atalanta and City. I don't know what you've got to do, Saka, but you need to get better. Con Marble Halls, I don't endorse or disagree. I don't know what these ITKs know or don't know. He said Mikel Merino's out of his sling and progressing nicely in his recovery. Be back soon. Now, obviously, you got to wait for his bone to heal. So, yeah. Martinelli said it's always good to beat Spurs. He said, we are buzzing after the game. We were really happy to have enjoyed the victory. We know the importance of this game, not just for us, but for the club and for the fans. We are really happy to make them happy. It's always really good to win against them. These days are even bigger when you win against them. I really like these kind of games. They've got a really high line. It's good for the wide players. We had a really good game, and I'm really happy with the performance. Shout out the gaffer, man. I mean, the gaffer. Shout out Martinelli. And he said he's obviously happy for Big Gabby to have bagged people. Let's see what the gaffer has had to say on the performance. Well, I'm super happy. Obviously, we know what it means to our club, to our people, to win a London derby, and we have the power to try to make them very happy. So hopefully we have achieved that, and that makes it very special. On the performance, we had moments in the game, some really good ones, some others that we have to suffer, which is football. We suffered because we have to adapt a little bit the plan because of the players we had available. And you could see that with the press. You know, normally we're pressing very high. The minute the goalie's got the ball, we're onto the centre-backs. Yesterday, you would have seen we still pressed, but we kind of waited them to go. We kind of waited them to progress up the pitch. DG shook. Of course, I'm shook of City. But it's a thing. I don't know about anyone in my life, yeah. I don't know about anyone. But it's like, for me, I don't advocate fighting. It's like I'm going to fight someone. It's like if I was going to fight someone that I know can F me up, I'm on it. Like, you're going to mash me up, but we're going to go out anyways. That's how I want us to look at City. Like, just because they're stronger than us, don't mean we should let them move to us. Like, yeah, they need to go hospital as well. So, of course, I'm scared of City. Bro, Mike Tyson could beat up anyone in his prime. Probably still can. Could damage any boxer. Probably at one point one of the most dangerous men on the planet. He used to say I was scared going into boxing matches. So what? I can't be scared about a football game. Allow me, man. But yeah, carrying on with Mikel Arteta. I loved it because since the day that we started to get by, the team got hungrier and hungrier to play the game. And that's a big compliment to everybody at the club to behave in a certain way. It's a tough week that's coming up. And instead of finding any little excuses or arguments to do that, the opposite, face the challenge, play with courage, acknowledge our qualities and what we have to be able to do to win the game. And we've actually done it. On the team's character, obviously, naturally, he's bigged up the character of the team. We got there now. Obviously, it's nice to win 3 games in a row at their place. Regarding Martin Odegaard, he said we have to wait and see the news. He certainly wasn't available to play today. Nicholas Hover, big him up for the set pieces. He said in his field, in other fields, as a person, the relationship that we have, that's why I made the decision to bring him to City when I was there and then to Arsenal. Him and the staff, or HM and the staff, they have injected the belief to the players that there are many ways to win football matches and that this is a really powerful one. He gives us a lot. Big compliment to all of them. On Saka coming off, I made 2 changes with the front players and suddenly he's down. So I looked at the bench and the options we had. So we had to adapt. I don't know exactly what it is, but he could not continue, which scares me a bit. On how the boss had to prepare this week, I didn't enjoy it because I didn't sleep much. I looked at Spurs for 4 or 5 days. And gassing, you didn't do that, man. You don't need to do that for Spurs. You do that for City, though. I had a super clear plan how to do it. I prepared everything, the sessions, the meetings, and then one news, we lose a player. Another lose, we lose another player. Another news, we lose a player. So I had to completely change it. I like the plan for the players that we had available. So it was a great challenge. And what the win means for our players, that they adapt. Loving the game means that you're able to do things regardless of the context. Jorginho, he loves the game. He doesn't play, but he loves winning. I mean, when he's not playing, he's training like an animal at his age after winning everything. So when you ask him to play 90 minutes, like he hasn't probably played for the last 5 months, fair enough. You know, big him up. And also Timber as well, first 90 minutes after his ACL. And shout out Partey. I don't want to jinx it, but again, if you told me we'd have a midfield injury crisis, Partey would be the fittest one, and he would play significant minutes in the Spurs game, and also would have 180 minutes for Ghana. I would say you're either able to predict the future or you're bugging out. So yeah, end of the day, I'm not happy with the squad depth and the fallout with the injuries, but it is where it is now. We've got what we've got. We're at where we're at. And he was struggling to say, he said the same with Duran. He's been out for a year. He hasn't played 90 minutes at all. And he was struggling today, but he managed to do it for the team. And like all these guys, I don't know without a preseason. I don't know how many minutes he's played. And he was unbelievable, all of them. But that's the spirit and the characters that we have that I love. Obviously, on how we defended today. Ooh, this is interesting. I didn't want to. I wanted to press much higher, lose the ball in much better conditions, higher up the pitch and do that. What I didn't want to do with certain players that we had today missing is expose ourselves to a game they're incredibly good at, which is on the transitions. So I have to choose, and the reward I think on the other side was much bigger than acquiring certain risks today against this opponent. On if there's a concern about the schedules, whether I have or not, I'm sure we're going to play Thursday and Sunday and then Tuesday. So it is what it is. We have to adapt. We're going to be a top team, a very challenging team that's up there. We're going to have to adapt to these things. Amen. On if the boss felt calmer at the end of the game compared to last season. Yeah, it was. Obviously, because after 3-0 to 3-2, you say this cannot happen, and they throw everything at it. They tried today, but I think we looked more composed, better organized, and gave very, very little away. No one can say we didn't dominate the second half. Watching the game again. Big up, big Gabriel as well. He said, I think the way he's evolved first of all as a person, and then on his role at the club, at the team has been phenomenal. It's been a great watch. This is why we are here. This is one of my passions, to give players the environment, to give players the support, the education, the coaching, to grow and to prepare them for life and to prepare them to get to the levels that probably they didn't think before. And Gabby is certainly one of the best examples of that, because he loves what you do. He applies himself incredibly well and he wants it. And when that happens, normally good things happen to this kind of people. On if the boss prefers winning the way we did, or by a bigger margin, 5-0. But this one today, I think, was extremely special and I'm happy with it. I don't think anyone can complain there, man. 9 goals in 4 games. That is insane. Big up yourself, Richie. Deluded. I really hope Saka's injury isn't serious. I think everybody, man. I think everybody is City going to dominate. I mean, you'd expect City to have the lion's share of proceedings. Can we just be spot on defensively and take our chances when we can? Yo, DG, did you see Van Persie lost 9-1 as a coach? Oof. I did see that on Twitter. I never watched the game. I haven't seen the highlights, but oof, damn. It's got to be a bit of pill to swallow. Couldn't have happened to a nicer individual, you reckon, innit? So we've gone over that. 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 Gone over that. We've gone over that. I should be live with Yardman at 8:15 p.m. today, folks. I'll hope to see you lot there. And simultaneously 6 p.m. Again, for you lot that want to hear my thoughts about the North London derby and some things you might have missed. You've got that. We've gone over that with Nicholas Hover. They're trying to say Gabriel's goal shouldn't have stood. I mean, it wouldn't be a North London derby if they weren't crying about certain things via set pieces. It's ridiculous. Timber has vowed that Arsenal will try to win their showdown with City after they were accused of playing for a draw. Man, who cares? I honestly don't care about the noise. I don't think the players do either, or the gaffer. But our fullback has said we always go everywhere with the intention of 3 points. It wasn't our intention to go for a draw there last season. I wasn't there, obviously, but I know how this team thinks, and we go everywhere for a win. Obviously, during the game like 2 weeks ago against Brighton, when you receive a red card, sometimes you cannot win, but everywhere we go to win. Big him up, man. And then he also said it's going to be a big week. It's nice to start like this after the international break, but we've got to take it game by game. On Thursday, we have the Champions League and we'll be ready in Italy. Big him up, man. And then he finally said, not only them in brackets, Odegaard and Rice, but we were missing even more players. So we knew it was going to be a tough match anyways. With any adversity, it is still a matter of winning these tough away games. And we did that. It felt really good. We were really happy in the dressing room because it was a tough match and we got it over the line. I think we were working a lot on defending together with the whole team. And we showed it again today with a clean sheet. If you keep a clean sheet and you create chances, you have a big chance of winning. That's why we won. I don't think anyone's going to complain with that, people. So, yeah, man. Good stuff, man. Apparently, Arsenal and Chelsea are on monitoring Stoke City's midfielder, Sidibe. The 17-year-old is one of the most highly rated youngsters in English football, and his progress is being monitored by several top teams, as you'd imagine. He made his debut last August, people, and was Stoke's youngest player at 16 years of age and 176 days. He's being monitored by City, Aston Villa, Nottingham Forest, Wolves, obviously Arsenal, at Chelsea as well, to name a few. He's an England under-18s international. Big him up, man. And naturally, people are going to be scouting, but I don't think there's an impending move. Gabriel Jesus tipped to quit Arsenal. Jesus has been tipped to quit Arsenal unless he starts playing regularly once again. Got to earn your place. When you get your chance, take it, people. We all know we had links to Benjamin Sesko. We all know Gabriel Jesus was one of those that was linked with a move away and staying. I think Gabriel Jesus, there could be a reality where you want to go to play, but I think he's a fighter and I think he understands that you're not one of the first names on the team sheet and you need to be patient considering your injuries. And again, it's about what teams do in the job. Angel Gomez, fresh off of getting capped by England, apparently Arsenal are looking at him. He's also been linked with a move back to Manchester United as well as Napoli, Juventus, Borussia Dortmund, Aston Villa and Newcastle. Apparently he's got a year left on his deal. I like him a lot. I don't think height has anything to do with it, but he might be too small of a midfielder, in my opinion, for Arteta to kind of recruit. I don't think that's up his street. Arsenal are said to be on the verge of beating a Premier League rival to a surprise signing of one of the brightest prospects in Spain. We've been linked with Yeremy Pino, who, if it wasn't for, when he injured his ACL and missed the majority of last season, he might have left Villarreal. He has been linked with Aston Villa, which he'll link up with a former manager, Unai Emery. Wouldn't mind him. I don't think his numbers are good, but I think he's decent. Apparently, his release clause is worth more than 70 million euros. I don't know if Arsenal will be at the front to want to pay that. And also, we probably want to monitor his progress post-ACL. Apparently, Arsenal remain interested in Gyökeres, but the Sporting Lisbon striker's price tag has led the Gunners to prioritise a bargain alternative in January. We've been linked with Jonathan David, who could be available for a cut price fee after entering the final year of his contract. So no for me. United and Chelsea apparently looking at him. RB Leipzig's sporting director or managing director has described Sesko as a complete striker. I reckon the club think it as well because we tried to get him. Tottenham fear Arsenal have hijacked Eze deal. Apparently, Tottenham Hotspur's pursuit of Crystal Palace star Eze seems to have hit a roadblock, with sources indicating to Football Transfers that the player's head has been turned by a top 4 Premier League club believed to be Arsenal or City, 2 teams who have been linked with him, people. Apparently, Spurs had been chasing the attacking midfielder for over a year and even had a gentleman's agreement with Eze based on meeting Crystal Palace's 68 million valuation. In fact, Eze's family was invited by Tottenham chairman Daniel Levy to attend the last North London derby at the end of last season. Spurs obviously lost, which is how it goes. However, the deal suddenly took a twist when Eze's reps informed Postecoglou's side that their rivals had made contact with the England international, urging him to put the move on hold and reassess his options before making a final decision. We don't know if any of this is true, people, but I know I would love Eze at the carpet. I think he's got the ability, the versatility to do a thing. Going back to Jonathan David, this is that Arsenal have been in touch with Jonathan David's camp. I don't know if I believe that. And this is the same thing. I don't believe that, if I'm honest. It's circus settings. Newcastle and Arsenal are still being linked with Leroy Sané. I don't take heed of that. We're still linked with Valencia's Javi Guerrero, people, a young midfielder who apparently some reports have said he's available for 30 million. This says as high as his release clause of 100 million. So I don't know where that's concerned. Arsenal made 3 moves to sign attacking players this summer before agreeing their last gasp Raheem Sterling deal. Preliminary talks were held over a deal for Sesko and Nico Williams before they opted to stay at Leipzig and Bilbao, respectively. That's great. The Premier League side also made an inquiry for Jamal Musiala. That's a myth. They're trying to get him to sign a new deal. Apparently, his demands are over 300 grand a week. Are we going to be at the front of the queue to give Musiala that? As much as I think he's worth it, I'm not sure. We've been over that already. What's this? We've been over that as well. Finally, people, Fabio Vieira has a knock at Porto. People, he's got an injury. Apparently, the manager of Porto said it won't be a concern. He's being reassessed daily. He's really eager to help. He's also brilliant at what his maximum ceiling is. The way he adapts to a new group, he comes with different habits from England. He brings good energy, and that will help him recover as quickly as possible. Let's hope it's as quickly as possible. So yeah, for a man that needs game time, hasn't started off well, and I think Lokonga has some knocks as well, man. JD is a no. I know him personally, played with him before he turned pro. Good player, but not Arsenal profile. Who's JD? Jonathan David. Yeah, I don't like him that much, man. Yeah, man. Doesn't your browser crash with all them tabs open? It's doing all right, man. Any news on Odegaard? We went over the post-game comments. No light has been shed from Mikel Arteta. You'd imagine ahead of the Atalanta game when he does his press conference, with it being more days to assess how his injuries progress, we'll get some sort of inclination on him. But Arteta don't really give much away on the status of players, man. Like, we all knew Odegaard wouldn't be playing in the North London derby, but Arteta never flat out just came and said it. He's too small. If he was 5'10", he'd had a chance. Sell Jesus to Saudi, 50 million. The thing is, when we played City last season, Kivio and Zinni started. Timber is a massive upgrade on both. To be fair, I think people are very harsh on Kivio in that City game because he had a good game. He got turned once by Bernardo Silva, which I do think that annoys me about football fans. Like, people get turned, bro. Like, if you get skinned once as a defender, bearing in mind you're playing some top quality players, you had a bad game. I know it's a good skill. It gets clipped up and whatnot. But yeah, I think people are quite harsh on him. DG, isn't the right time to rest our star boy for City? No, because we need to win against Atalanta. Best case scenario, strongest team goes out there, get the result, score 3-4 goals if that's even possible, and Saka can get some rest, man. We should go hard for Gyökeres this Jan. He's scoring for fun. Are they gonna want to clip him though? Are they gonna want to sell him? Because honestly, if you're supporting Lisbon, you probably want to hold on to him into the summer. I mean, in theory, no team wants to buy or sell players in January because you would have done all the business in the summer. So I would love a striker personally, and I know I could change my mind depending on when players are back. I would love if they could find an inside forward or a striker in January. I'm all for that. But for me, I would love another centre midfielder through the door in January. Rest Saka against Atalanta, and then who plays? Big up Sterling, big up Jesus. We could still do a thing, but for me, Saka has to play. You have to put your best foot forward, man. And Atalanta are not a joke. They're not a joke. They're a very good side. There'll be a much tougher test than Spurs. A much tougher test. There'll be plenty of time to rest Saka, man. Saka, 2 more games. And then, it will be next Tuesday, innit? Next Tuesday, because what, Atalanta Thursday, City on Sunday. Next Tuesday, Saka, you'll be on the bench for the Bolton game. If we, respectfully to Bolton, if we can't get past Bolton without several stars not starting, there's something wrong with us, really. And don't get it twisted, I would rather win the FA Cup. Would love to win the Champs, would love to win the Prem. But I want to see us take the League Cup seriously. Whether we have the enough depth or not, I don't know. But we need to. And even if we don't win it or get to the finals, our journey in that cup, people, that competition, it shouldn't stop against Bolton. But that's just my thoughts as an Arsenal fan, man. Give them Jesus for Gyökeres, assuming that Gabriel Jesus wants to sign for Sporting, man. It is what it is. But on that note, though, people, I'm conscious of the next video coming out. So, yeah, as usual, thank you lot for listening to me rambling, offering your own opinions, smashing the like button and subscribing. Big up you lot on Twitter and Twitch. It's always a pleasure. If there's anything of note concerning our football club, you know, vids will always come out. Check out the description and make sure you're following on Twitch, on Playback, and also my second YouTube channel. Again, it's always a pleasure. It's a pleasure to be here after winning the North London derby. You lot stay safe, stay blessed. Make sure you check out the video at 6 p.m. Peace.
Easy.